A hunt master has claimed that authorities are failing to act despite an increase in attacks by masked saboteurs. The Royal Artillery Hunt, after years of attacks by masked saboteurs, claim that they are beginning to lose hope. A spokesman for the saboteurs says hunt saboteurs are continually accused of offences by hunts, but there's never any proof offered, despite cameras always recording and many saboteurs choosing not to cover their faces. Let's talk about this with Robert Pownall. Robert is the founder of Protect the Wild. Hello, Rob.
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Am I right in thinking fox hunting on horseback is illegal? Does that mean it doesn't happen?
Well, no, sadly, it happens quite frequently. It's been illegal since 2004, over 20 years now, but sadly, hunts across the country continue to use the smokescreen of trail hunting. They claim that they're following an artificial scent trail and they're not doing anything wrong and that we're not hunting foxes, it's just an accident if one's accidentally killed. But we know time and time again that this is just not the case. They're just quite frankly lying. They're deliberately pursuing wildlife across the countryside, and in the thousands mammals are being killed. It's disgusting and it needs to be stopped.
Well, what is trail hunting? I mean, you've said it's an artificial trail. How's it laid down?
So that they claim that they have a rag and that they soak it with either fox urine or aniseed now, supposedly, and that they'll have a trail layer who is on a quad bike or running along fields and drags this scent, and that is what the hounds are following, that they're not actually hunting wildlife. But we just don't see it happening. Hunt sabs and monitors on the ground never see it happening, and if it is, it's done as to try and as a display, as a show, to try and claim, yeah, we are actually doing this, we are following this trail, but it's just rubbish.
Well, one of the measures of the Hunting Act was that dogs can be used to flush out foxes for stalking and shooting to protect wild or game birds or to help prevent or reduce serious damage to game or wild birds. Is the sort of vagueness of the wording and the ease of putting many interpretations on that part of the problem?
Yeah, I mean, the Hunting Act was supposed to ban hunting with dogs in principle, but it's a broken law full of loopholes and exemptions. I mean, they're almost impossible to enforce. I mean, the biggest flaw is you have to prove intent to kill a wild animal. That gives hunts a ready-made excuse. They just claim they're following a trail. Even when hounds kill a fox, they say it was an accident. Without clear filmed evidence and witnesses, the case collapsed. And then you've got stag hunts claiming they're conducting scientific observation and research, one of the ridiculous exemptions built into the Hunting Act. Of course, they've never released the findings of this so-called research. Other hunts, as you've said, claim they're flushing a wild animal to a bird of prey. I mean, countless other hunts don't even bother with even pretending to lay a trail or even use excuses. They just pretty much carry on as they always have done. And if it wasn't for hunt monitors and sabs on the ground recording what was happening, we wouldn't be having this conversation because it wouldn't be revealed the extent of killing that is still taking place.
But does the hunt master of the Royal Artillery Hunt have a point that he and others have been subject to attacks?
Well, the Royal Artillery Hunt, it's funny, they make a lot of claims, but they're very vague on the specifics. If they're victims of wrongdoing, then they should be taking matters to the police. I mean, when the Royal Artillery Hunt claims to be the victim, let's remember this. Charles Carter, the Royal Artillery huntsman, has twice received community resolution orders from Wiltshire Police, one for physically assaulting a female saboteur in 2024. He has a documented history of aggression, including a 2022 incident where he damaged a car, and another one where he drove into two saboteurs, all caught on film. In 2017, he resigned as a Tory councillor after making inappropriate comments to a woman saboteur. This is not the behaviour of someone calmly following the law. And it's not just Carter. In March 2023, the Ministry of Defence Police warned both Carter and his whipper-in for failing to control hounds that chased deer across Salisbury Plain. That directly contravenes both local bylaws and the Hunting Act. It's no surprise that the Ministry of Defence then recently banned all so-called trail hunting on Emadu land because they've seen the reality for themselves. I found it quite laughable, really, and so ironic that of all hunts, the Royal Artillery is claiming what they're claiming without making any degree of specifics about any incidents. They're so vague, and they've got a ridiculously long history of offending and violence themselves.
Yeah, well, they would probably say that they were, they were acting in order to defend themselves from people in masks who were trying to, upset their day to prevent them from doing what they found objectionable. So it's not just one-sided, surely.
Well, we're hearing claims that, saboteurs are the problem, that they're violent, criminal, threatening. I mean, let's get real. Saboteurs and monitors are volunteers, often giving up their weekends to peacefully observe hunts, collect evidence of law breaking and save wildlife. If hunts were truly obeying the laws, they wouldn't object to being watched. But instead of transparency, we see intimidation, secrecy, and often violence, not from the saboteurs, but from hunt staff. Let's address the argument that police aren't acting too. That's not because saboteurs are untouchable. It's because there's no case to answer. Police forces face immense pressure from politically connected hunting groups, and yet we've seen a growing recognition that hunts are flouting the law. There's a reason that Matt Longman, the chief superintendent on fox hunting, for instance, has said that crime such as trail hunting poses one of the most farcical eras in criminal justice history. And it's no wonder in recent months the MOD finally decided to stop trail hunting on their land, because they've seen past the lies and the smokescreen for what it is. They're sick of the offending. And, there's so much offending from hunts and so much chaos. Protect the Wild has launched an entire website dedicated just to the carnage caused by hunts to local communities. In just the last 2 years, we've logged 1,300 incidents on our new website, hunthavoc.info. Everything from illegal quad bike use, intimidation, to SABs, hounds being left in the roads, you name it, trespass, intimidation of local people. Communities in the country as a whole are sick of hunts. They're sick of the law breaking, and it's about time something's done about it.
You mentioned the hounds. One of the claims is that if trail hunting is banned, then 15,000 dogs used by hunts would be at risk. Just out of interest, what happens to a hound once it has outlived its usefulness to a hunt?
Well, I mean, this is another sickening thing hunts are now doing. They're weaponising their own hounds in order to try and save their sick pastime, when, as it is right now, hunts across the country are shooting their hounds dead. If you don't believe us, look up Protect the Wild hound shooting, and we filmed it. We showed the most prestigious hunt in the country, the Duke of Beaufort hunt, shooting down several of the hounds, of which appear healthy and even young hounds too. This isn't even just hounds they deem too old, but we've proved and shown that these hounds should be rehomed. Hunts have a responsibility to ensure that hounds are going to loving homes and that they can live out their lives, not just be killed because they're no longer useful as tools. And we've proved that too. Google Rehome the Hounds, and we've demonstrated that hounds can prosper and thrive in domesticated environments too. So it's disgusting that hunts are even trying to weaponise hounds in order to save their blood sport.
We've talked about trail hunting, and the government are in the process of considering banning trail hunting. Is it for the reasons that you suggest? Is it that trail hunting itself isn't the problem, it's that people who say they are trail hunting actually aren't?
Well, even if hunts were trail hunting, it's just not a solution. You haven't got to be a genius to know that if you're following an artificial fox urine across the countryside, that a rampaging pack of hounds is not going to accidentally pick up wildlife, by accident. Even if all hunts were doing it, which they're not, 99.9% of hunting days do not involve trail laying or trail hunting. And I think we've won the debate now. The public, the press, politicians, they realise and have seen through the smokescreen. There's a reason why the National Trust, Forestry Union, the MOD, you name it, landowners are on our side. They've banned trail hunts. They've banned hunting the so-called trail from happening on their land. And I think now, luckily and thankfully, this Labour government realised the same. They're opening a consultation. We've obviously urged people that have been affected by hunts to submit their views on that. And, we welcome a ban on so-called trail hunting. It never happens. And even if it did, it's not the answer to saving and protecting wildlife.
And those who take part in hunts would probably say, among the things that they might say, is that actually what you're saying is it's just class war. It's townies who want to disrupt a nice day out for the landed gentry.
No, nothing to do with it. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is. All sorts of people are involved in hunting from all different classes. I couldn't care less who does it. All I care about is stopping animal cruelty. You know, people that are on the ground sabotaging and monitoring hunts, they don't do it for a laugh or just for a hobby. They do it because suffering is happening, because wildlife is being ripped to pieces, and the police are badly resourced, underfunded, and we've got a broken hunting act that isn't doing enough to stop it. Whether it's the hounds that are used as tools and are shot in the head dead at the end of it, whether it's the foxes, deer or hare that are being chased and pursued across countryside for so-called fun, nobody's winning. Local communities are suffering. They're getting sick of, hounds just being left in the middle of roads, quad bikes being used illegally, as they shouldn't be. I've had to console a member of the public whose cat was killed on her front drive, and that hunter responsible ran up to the cat and threw that cat over a garden fence. And all of this is public. It was all filmed. I supported that poor lady in court after her cat was killed in that way, and the hunt tried to cover it up and tried to offer money. These people are disgusting. Nothing to do with class. It's people that are intent on keeping alive a sick and cruel tradition that has no place in modern Britain.
Thanks for your time, Rob. Rob Pownall, founder of Protect the Wild.